Hello there, welcome to this Music Tech student course, Task 3A, Sequenced Integrated Performance. This year you've got a choice between two really good tracks, Brick England by Pet Shop Boys and Heartbeats by The Knife. And what we're going to do within this set of tutorials is go through how we would recreate Heartbeats by The Knife from the CD Deep Cuts. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and downloaded that track from Amazon. You can also get it on iTunes. What we're going to do within these tutorials is go through how we would recreate this track, and I'd like to really suggest now that this is just for reference. Everything we do is just a guide, is how we would go about setting up this project and the tracks within the project, but do make sure that it is your own work. Make sure any decisions that you make are your own, and you just use what we're telling you as a little guide to help you along as such. All the creative stuff, all the creative decisions do need to be your own. Let's just go through the project brief. So we've chosen Heartbeats by The Knife from that CD, and you're required to produce a sequenced integrated realization of this track. So that means you are required to recreate this track to sound as similar as possible to the original. You can use any timbres within Logic Pro or within any DAW that you decide to use. We're going to use Logic Pro X and match all your choices as closely as possible to this track. You do need to re-record the lead vocal part, and you can choose up to 3 parts to record live. 3 audio tracks you can have, no more than that, but you do need to have at least the main vocal recorded. And lastly, make sure everything is your own work. You're not allowed to sample any of the main recording, so you can't go in and say, oh, I like that little bit of the chorus, I'm going to take that. That cannot be within your final submission. And do make sure when you do get to submitting that your track is on track 1 of your Portfolio 2 CD, and it is of course at 44.1 16-bit. We will go through all of that towards the end of this course anyway, so don't get too bogged down in that straight away. Now, let's go on and set up this track, this course, the whole thing. We're going to set it up right away in this tutorial. So I've loaded up a Logic Pro X session, and I've just saved it straight away as soon as I've got in there, Task 3A Heartbeats. So do make sure you save that right away as soon as you've created your session to a space that you're going to be working on. Make sure it's somewhere that you know where it is. That's a good place to start, and make sure that it's somewhere easily accessible so that you're not going to lose it. Once you do get further into this, make sure you are backing up and you've got more than one copy. You do keep doing regular backups. It would really be such a shame to lose some work when you've been spending hours and hours working on a timbre that you've really sussed out, and then you lose it. So do make sure you save and constantly keep backing up your work. Now, let's get started with this Heartbeats by The Knife. So what I've done, first of all, is imported the track. Now, I've gone ahead and brought the track on Amazon Music, as I said. If we go up to File, Import, and Audio File, we can then find the file in there and pull that in to our track. And all you need to do is make sure you have an audio track created already, stereo audio track, bring that in, drag that in, or go to File, Import, bring that into your session. We're then going to want to come on over and line it up. So when you first get it, it will not be lined up to the grid. And the reason we want to line it up to the grid is so that it's in time with the score and it's in time with everything that you're going to be doing. You're going to want it to be on the beat, on the bar, and very much in time with whatever you're going to be doing and whatever you're sequencing. So what we're going to want to do is come on over and first of all drag this out here. So when you first open up Logic Pro, you're going to see that you can't get past 1, and that's kind of a pain. When you bring this over, it's going to tell you that it won't do it, basically. So come on up to this little arrow and drag that back to 0. You'll then be able to move this back, and this section here between 0 and 1 acts as a pre-roll as such. So you can then zoom in and move the main track so that it starts on the first beat of that bar, of bar 1. And you really do need to be precise with this, so make sure that first peak there is on bar 1, and you can even zoom in even further and really make sure that is on that bar. Zoom back out, make sure you're happy, and that is your track ready to go. I would then come in and lock this track. So if you right click, go down to configure track header. Once you're on there, it'll pull this up and make sure you have protect ticked. That means you're able to now lock that in place. So if I lock that and try and move it, it tells you no. It says you've got that locked in place. It cannot be moved, and that is really, really good for this situation because you don't want to be halfway through, nudge it out slightly, and then everything you're doing will then be out of time and you're going to think your work's wrong or something else. So let's get that locked in place, and then we'll be really, really happy with that. So what we're going to want to do now is work out the BPM, time signature, and the key of this piece. So I've got this key as A flat major. Do make sure you work it out and see what you think about that. I've got the time signature as 4/4, and then we're going to work out this tempo now. So what we need to do is select the track. It's already in position. Let's come on over to audio effects and metering. There's a BPM counter in there, so if we select that, that will then come on up with the BPM counter, and you're able to now go into Logic Pro, play a little part, and it will work out automatically what the BPM is of this track. So you only need to play a little part, and that will tell you what it thinks it is. We can then go ahead and confirm that we've got 88 as our BPM. So do make sure you do that, and make sure you use the readings that you get, and go from there. What we're going to want to do now is work out these sections, and so we've got introduction, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, etc. So let's go on over and listen to the entire track and mark where we think each part is. And that's really, really helpful later on in the line, later on in production, where you're going to want to go back into, say, chorus 2 and edit some parts, or add in a go-go bell or anything like that. You can go in directly and see that at bar 45, for example, is the chorus 2. So what I've done is gone in and marked where I think each of these parts are. So I've got the first 16 bars is the intro, the next 8 bars is verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus 2 from bar 45, the bridge at bar 57, then we've got a different arrangement of the chorus at bar 69, and then going into the outro for 8.5 bars at bar 77. And I've color coded that so it's nice and easy to look at. You can easily see what's what, and I really find that laying out your song, laying out where you think each part is really helpful later on. Another thing to look at is your snap value. So before you go too far in creating parts of your song, parts of your recreation of your task 3A, do make sure you set your snap value to whatever you require. Sometimes Logic Pro does like to get a little bit excited and can nudge things where you don't want it. So make sure you do tell it that you want to set it by bar, beat, or ticks. And ticks is where you can move it anywhere. Bar and beat is obviously where you can move it just by that bar or just by that beat. And do make sure you also have snap regions to absolute value. That would mean that there's no slight movement in the wrong direction going on there. Now we're set up, we're ready to go. I would suggest having a listen to your entire track. Make sure you're happy that it's all in time. Make sure that you're happy that it's locked in the right place, and then go ahead and add some instrument tracks. Go new tracks, and say we want 6 new software instrument tracks, and these will be the start of your instruments. So you'll come on in, go instrument 1, that would be, say, kick drum. Instrument 2 could be your snare. Then you've got synth 1, and go along, rename all of these to be whatever you require them as. Set them all out. I really find that setting them out to begin with means you've got some sort of formula. You know what's coming next, and you're able to see straight away if you've missed something. So in the next video, we will start looking through the drums. So next up, task 3A, setting up the drums.